Hello and welcome to our special coverage of China's Shenzhou-18 launch. I'm Li Yuan, joining you live in Beijing. In about 3 hours, a Long March 2F rocket carrying the Shenzhou-18 spacecraft with 3 taikonauts on board will lift off from northwestern China's Gansu province, bound for the Tiangong space station in orbit. The 3 taikonauts are Commander Ye Guangfu and crew members Cong and Li Guangsu. They will take over duties in space from their Shenzhou-17 piers and live aboard the Tiangong for about 6 months. Shenzhou-18 is the 32nd flight mission of China's manned space program, which began over 30 years ago. Shenzhou-18 is the 3rd manned mission of the Tiangong space station's application and development stage. And joining me here in the studio are Professor Yang Guang, Vice Chair of the International Astronautical Federation Space Transportation Committee, and Professor Sui Yanan, Associate Professor of the School of Aerospace Engineering in Tsinghua University. Welcome to you both. Pleasure to have you on. Now let's get the latest on the ground. We can go live to our correspondent Zheng Yibing joining us at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. Great to see you there, Yibing. We are just less than 3 hours to go till the launch. What's the mood there? How's it going with the team? How are the taikonauts preparing for the launch?
Well, yes, Yuan, when we're talking about the atmosphere, well, we can see the answers from the faces of audiences around here in this Yuan Square. Well, they're so excited and happy. And today there were 2 spectator seats beside me. On my left side, there are audiences from the all working systems. They're waving the flowers and flags to each other, trying to cheer up for the Chinese taikonauts. And they are from also the children from the middle school and primary school of this area of the launch center. On my right side, there are also hundreds of people. They're mainly reporters and journalists, not only from China, but also from across the world. They're ready to record an exciting moment of the setting out of the Shenzhou-18 crew members. When we're talking about the Shenzhou-18 crew members, yesterday morning, we met them inside Wentiange, the living compound for the Chinese taikonauts, to stay and work during their stay at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. There are the commander Ye Guangfu and crew member Cong and Li Guangsu. Well, yesterday we talked to them about a lot of the feelings and excitement. And another thing I want to share with you is we heard the 3 crew members have had a very good meal with delicious Chinese cuisines, including the steamed stuffed bun, which is called in Chinese baozi, which has the auspicious meaning the victory for this mission. Another thing I want to share with you is the big screen behind me in the distance. During the previous missions, we usually see the big posters showing the various Shenzhou mission, but this time we see it is replaced with a big LED screen. And it has 2 functions. On the one hand, it's going to show the new Shenzhou-18 crew members, and also it is going to provide audiences at Yuan Square with a live footage of the entire launch mission. So it is really good design. In less than 10 minutes, the setting out ceremony for the Shenzhou-18 crew members will be held here. So we're going to wait here and keep you updated. Back to you.
Yeah, we're standing by for that takeoff ceremony. Thank you so much, Yibing, live for us at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. Now, to learn more about the spacecraft carrying out the Shenzhou-18 mission, our reporter Zheng Yibing talked to a senior researcher for the spacecraft system.
The Shenzhou-18 is a 3rd manned spacecraft for mission to China's space station. It has the same design as Shenzhou-16, 17, and the following 19 spacecraft.
From the general technical state, there are the orbital module, the re-entry module, and the propellant module. And there are solar panels and the engines. They are consistent with the previous technological designs.
The biggest difference this time is upgrade to the spacecraft's battery, replacing the cadmium nickel battery with lighter and smaller lithium one, which has a much longer life.
The Shenzhou spacecraft as a manned vehicle requires the highest safety and reliability. The upgrade to the battery has been fully verified in our space station, cargo ships, and other spacecraft.
There were also small modifications. like a little more space for space science experiments. And Chen Tongxiang explained how Shenzhou-18's flight will go.
It is the 7th manned flight for China's space station. After liftoff from Jiuquan, it will fly for 6.5 hours and make orbital transfer, and then the fast rendezvous and docking with the space station. Shenzhou-18 crew will rotate with Shenzhou-17 crew and stay in the station for 6 months and then return.
For this mission, the Shenzhou spacecraft system has been working day and night to make sure the flight goes smoothly. Zheng Yibing, CGTN in Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center.
For more, let's bring in our guests in the studio, Professor Yang and Professor Sui. So let me start with Professor Yang first. Another manned mission to the Tiangong space station. Talk to us about their mission tasks. What kind of tasks will the Shenzhou-18 crew carry out?
Well, Shenzhou-18 mission will be the third mission during our utilization and development phase of the Tiangong space program. You know, that's no exception that this mission is also will focusing on a lot of experiments. What impressed me most is that, that according to Mr. Lin Xiqiang, the announcer of China Manned Space Program, we have conducted more than 130 experiments from the Shenzhou-12 mission to the Shenzhou-16 mission. So you can see 5 missions, more than 130 experiments. But that this time for the Shenzhou-18 mission, a single mission, they will conduct more than 90 experiments. So you can see how intensive it is and how challenging it is. So I believe that this will be the most remarkable feature of this Shenzhou-18 mission. We will have more returns from their scientific research.
And as we speak, we're looking at the live pictures from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. That's a great view of the Wentiange. This is where the astronauts live and work prior to the launch. Momentarily, they will emerge from that building. They'll meet the press, and we will bring that takeoff ceremony to you. So, Professor Sui, talk to us about the breakthroughs in terms of those experiments. So, Professor Yang just mentioned more than 90 scientific experiments will be carried out. And I understand they're bringing fish to space for the first time. Talk to us about it.
Right, so that is very well known, I think, and it's very special for this mission. I'll just introduce what is the zebrafish, which they're sending up to the space. So the zebrafish looks like this, and it's actually very small. It's very special because it is transparent. Actually, from the body, you actually can see inside the muscle, the bone, the organs, so that we can learn a lot of things from observing their behaviors, and that'll leading to better understanding of how our human system, how we move on Earth, how we're going to be able to move in the space. The study of a fish will lead to tremendous amount of new understanding of human neuromusculoskeletal organ system study and understandings.
And this is called zebrafish, right? Is there
Yes.
any reason that they chose this kind of fish in particular?
I think this is a model animal for a lot of biological research. For example, neuroscience or development biology, because there are a lot of genetic tools and other scientific technologies that can investigate this animal in details.
Once again, you're looking at the Yuan Square. The name literally means dreams come true, and this is the place where the takeoff ceremony or send-off ceremony will be held. You can see everything's all set. The banners, the flags, the microphones for the astronauts, one for the commander as well. On your left is the press corps. More than 100 journalists are there documenting this historic moment. On your right are the crowds of people who are there to see the astronauts off. There you go. The astronauts have emerged from the Wentiange. Here comes the Shenzhou-18 flight crew. Flight commander Ye Guangfu standing in the middle with flight crew Cong and Li Guangsu. And you can hear the loud cheer from the crowd. I mean, there's no red carpet here, but this certainly feels like a red carpet event. Lots of excitement here. The vibe is electric. I mean, this is a shared experience that we're all enjoying right now as people across China and the world are watching this together, and that's wonderful.
Come Comrade Commander-in-Chief, we are following the order to carry out Shenzhou-18 manned spaceflight mission. Now we are ready to go. Please indicate. Member of PLA Astronaut Corps, Taikonaut Ye Guangfu, Taikonaut Li Cong, Taikonaut Li Guangsu. Proceed. Yes. Salute.
After declaring their mission and given a go-ahead by the chief commander, the 3 astronauts are waving to the crowds. They're going to pose for the camera for a bit before taking off. Really a mix of veteran astronauts and newcomers, and quite a young team as well. All of them were born in the 80s, so they're in their 30s and 40s. Flight Commander Ye Guangfu just got back from the space station about 2 years ago, but this will be his first time taking the role of flight commander. He's shouldering more responsibility at this time. Was born in 1980. He's from Sichuan province in South China. Well, he had trained for 11 years before making that first trip to space in 2022. And flight engineer Li Cong was born in 1989. He is from Hebei province, used to be a fighter jet pilot, and became a taikonaut in 2020. And guess what? He once said in an interview he wanted to be a singer when he was little, so I bet he can sing really well. Then you've got Li Guangsu. He was born in 1987. Is from Jiangsu province, used to be a pilot from the Air Force as well, and became a taikonaut in 2020, just as Li Cong did. So the two had been training together for quite some time. That's Mr. Yang Liwei, the first astronaut in China has ever been to space. Crowds are cheering for them, wishing for them good luck and a smooth flight. They are waving to the crowd, smiling. Big smile on their face, waving confidently. And they're hopping on that minibus, which will take them to the launch pad. It'll take about 15 minutes for the van to get to the launch pad. Looks to me they are in quite a good spirit there. A thumbs up for us. Once again, the second time for Mr. Ye Guangfu there. I guess he is quite familiar with the drill, huh, because the weather seems to be pretty nice. Clear sky, an ideal weather for the launch. And talk to us about the launch window, Professor Yang. Why is it at night this time?
You may notice every time the launch window is different. This depends on the relative position between the launch site and our target, the Tiangong space station. You know that the Tiangong space station is orbiting the Earth with the altitude about 400 kilometers above the Earth, and also the inclination or the angle between the orbital plane of Tiangong and the equatorial plane is about 41.5 degrees. But you know that the orbital plane is also changing very slowly in the orbit. So after several months or years, so the position will be different. So every time, if we want to reach the Tiangong space station with another spacecraft, either an Shenzhou spaceship or a Tianzhou cargo spacecraft, the basic requirement is that when the chasing spacecraft is entering the orbit, it must be in the same orbital plane of Tiangong space station. So this is the most important, the most essential requirement to the launch. So you can see every time we don't have other choices but to launch the spacecraft when the launch site is rotating along with the Earth when passing through the orbital plane of our Tiangong space station. So this is the reason why every time it is different. We can still remember last year it was in deep night.
Right, right. And this is a beautiful view of the Wentiange Hall, really an oasis in the Gobi Desert. They were really putting out all the efforts to make the astronauts stay there as comfortable and as refreshing as it can. The astronauts are now being transferred to the launch pad. They're going pretty slowly, under the speed of 50 kilometers per hour, giving people on the streets the chance to see them off.
Yes, so I've been there almost 5 years before, and you know that's the best season of the Jiuquan satellite launcher is in June and July. So that's very beautiful.
You can see the poplar forest.
You know, I believe you've also been there before. You know, that's that's the first time I saw the Milky Way with my naked eyes.
Wow.
So you can imagine how clear the sky is. But this season, that April, usually it is a sandy season. There are strong wind, and also there are sometimes sandstorms.
And you're looking at a landmark structure. This is called the Space Memorial Tower. It's more than 30 meters tall. The tower is pointing to the sky, symbolizing Chinese people's dream of exploring space. And you can see on the street more people cheering for them. These are the ground staffs, their family members. Students go to school here at the Space City.
It's also a good time after school, right? So the students, they actually all the students
You
can
can
go
hear
there.
the cheers from the students. They're in their school uniform. And it's that there are thousands of people there to see the astronauts off. They also include representatives from different organizations. There's only about 7 to 8 kilometers from the Wentiange to the launch tower. It's not that far. Because they're going at a relatively slower speed, the whole trip is going to take 15 minutes or so.
Yes, because that Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center is more than 1,000 kilometers to the west of Beijing. So that here in Beijing is already in the evening, but still in the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center is still in the afternoon. So you can see it's still very bright. We can see the good view of the sightseeing of the near the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. Although it is in the Gobi Desert, you mentioned, but that it is in the, actually speaking, in the Alashan area of in Mongolia. So there are some Gobi Desert near, but also the terrain is very flat. So it is an ideal place for not only the launch, but also for the landing.
Now that structure you're seeing is the Shenzhou Friendship Bridge, also known as the Rainbow Bridge by the locals. It's in the shape of a spaceship, symbolizing the brave spirit of the Shenzhou manned missions. Normally, what would be the schedule on a launch day for them before the launch? I mean, they must have had dinner by now, right? They had to put on the spacesuit, right?
Yeah.
They have to put on the suit 3 hours prior to the launch.
That with the development of our technologies, it's already been very, very practical than before, and also we have already have very good experience on that. So their what the food they will eat has already been well prepared, and also will consider about their own their favorite. You mentioned that Mr. Ye Guangfu is from Sichuan province, so I believe that he will have some maybe spicy food.
They've also gone through what we call level 3 medical quarantine ahead of the launch. They have to keep a certain distance from people who have not been under quarantine, right?
Exactly. So that's very, very necessary. So keep them healthy is very, very important to ensure the safety and also ensure the success of the whole mission. That's very, very important. So the quarantine is not only conducted before the flight, but also when they get back, because that their immune system will be relatively weak after they experience microgravity more than half a year. So the quarantine procedure after they came back is also necessary.
Now, the Dongfeng Aerospace City is massive. You've been there, Professor.
Yes.
It's got everything, right? There are schools for kids to go, so there are hotels,
although
all
it's not
kinds of
very big,
restaurants.
but it has everything.
Everything, even karaoke's, for the astronauts or the ground staffs, for our heroes to have a bit of fun after work.
Yeah.
And that's great. And the name of the hotels and streets are quite fun, like Space Road or Universe Road.
Yeah. And also, that's the apartment they stay for the astronaut called Wentiange. So it's also the place where we Chinese people fulfill our dream to go to the outer space.
Do we know who are sitting on the van with the astronauts usually? Medics? Or support staff?
Yes, what you mentioned, the staff, belongs to what we call the astronaut system. The astronaut system not only in charge of the manufacturing of the EVA and IVA spacesuits, but also in charge of the health monitoring and also other issues related to the astronauts themselves.
The suits look pretty heavy. How much do they weigh?
Not very heavy. You see, this is what we've seen is the IVA spacesuit. They only wear this suit inside the cabin. When they go out, they will wear the what called the Wentiange EVA spacesuit. That's much heavier, more than 100 kilograms. But for the IVA spacesuit, is only the second protection to keep it safe from the vacuum condition. You know that's it because it must have a airtight sealing when their face mask is closed. So you know usually they need a ventilation device, very small. You may remember during the setup ceremony years before, the astronaut, the crew hold a small box. So that is the ventilation device. But today it's already improved, so it can hold it here on their waist, so their hands are free.
Yeah, they no longer need to carry that portable air conditioning ventilator.
It's a portable device with batteries and ventilation fans, but today they don't need to hold it by their hands.
That's a very nice improvement. And what do we know about the makeup of the crew? I mean, they make a great combination, right? Do we know what kind of assignments will be assigned to them, respectively?
Yes, we do have some very reasonable consideration about it. You know, this time we have the same configuration like the Shenzhou-17 crew. The commander is a veteran from the second batch of our astronauts and who already have the experience in our Tiangong space station, and two newcomers from the third batch of our astronauts. Both of them are very young. You see, they are very young means that they have more chance in the future to have other missions, maybe more challenging. And because they've already have the experience in outer space for half a year today, so they are well trained and qualified for the future challenging missions. So this is the reason. And I believe after this Shenzhou-18 mission, the two newcomers will also become veterans, and they probably can also be chosen as the commander in the future missions.
Do we know about their personalities? I mean, who's the one that likes to crack a few jokes? Who is the serious one?
Well, you know that's.
Because you've met some of the astronauts before.
You can read from the social media that there is a nickname of this crew. It is called a smooth crew, because you know that they cooperate so great, so you know that even with a very single gesture, the crew member can understand what the other one means. So you can see how perfect they work together. And also, you know that Mr. Ye Guangfu has already, as you introduced, he is a previous crew member of the Shenzhou-18 mission. And during, you know that Shenzhou-18 mission, actually speaking, is until now is the most difficult mission for the China's astronaut. You know that it is the first time the Chinese astronauts stay in outer space for half a year. But you know that the difference is today our Tiangong space station have 3 modules. The inner volume is more than 100 cubic meters, very big. But you know that during the Shenzhou-18 mission, they only have 1 module, the Tianhe-1 core module, and they need to stay there for half a year, the first time. So it's really tough for them.
We can already see the launch tower from afar. Let's also take a look at the features of the rocket. The Long March 2F Ye-18 manned carrier rocket is taking the Shenzhou-18 crew to space. A veteran rocket developer tells CGTN Sun Ye what makes this model and China's famous Long March rocket family so reliable.
Here at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center, there are all kinds of rockets and all kinds of rocket launches. There are Long March 4Cs, Long March 2Cs, Long March 2Ds, and many more. In fact, in the 5 years between 2018 and 2023, there are over 100 rocket launches in this Satellite Launch Center alone. But whenever the Long March 2F manned carrier rocket rolls out, it is always a true phenomenon. Even here.
每一发任务都参与。
Liu Hailong, who has worked on the model for over 10 years, says the most important quality of Long March 2F rockets is this: they are the safest and extremely reliable.
可以说，
什么叫做任何问题都能解决？
就是我们。
We have every scenario sorted out. This model is designed and developed to meet all the needs of the carry-ons. We have plans for every hypothetical scenario of things going wrong. Taikonauts will be safe whatever happens. No problem can occur.
我们的航天员的安全。
它无论什么轨迹，它都是安全的。
对不同的。
It is safe in whatever trajectory it follows, whatever heights it at, whatever speed it travels in. it will meet all safety requirements all the time.
Liu also says the rocket gets better with each mission. In fact, it gets better drawing on the experiences of other Long March rocket missions.
The Long March rockets are one family. They belong in the same series. While the number of launches of our Long March 2F rocket is relatively few, we draw lessons from other tasks performed by the Long March series of rockets. This is also a fundamental reason for the improvement in technical status and even better reliability. This is a key feature of the industry. We compare and maintain consistency across the board, as there are many shared aspects for this family of rockets.
It's not just here at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. Across China's several launch centers, we get the feeling that the space development is picking up speed fast. This year in 2024, China is planning around 100 rocket launches in total. That's including new models like Long March 6C and Long March 12. And later this year, there's another Long March 2F manned carrier rocket that will launch from here, the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. Sun Ye, CGTN, Jiuquan, Gansu Province.
As you can see in that live picture, the Shenzhou-18 crew is being transported to the launch pad. They're getting really close. And talk to us more about the rocket, Professor Sui. So the chief designer of the Long March 2F rocket actually went to the same university as you did, right? You guys all went to Tsinghua University, and you've actually met him before. Talk to us about it.
I actually met her, I think, when she go back on campus to give talks to introduce her work. Yeah, the reporters introduced quite a few different rockets, but still the Long March 2F is the most stable and is the very good one. So we choose that for the manned spaceship. Those events, yeah. So over the years, I think it's about 25 years of the development and the use of this Long March 2F rocket. During the years, the system is actually keep improving. You know that for spaceships, for rockets, we're not gonna make, say, very tremendous new designs from time to time. We're gonna have incremental, step-by-step improvements of the system. Yeah, so over the years, we see the engines keep improving, the structure, reliability, and the materials keep improving, the electronics getting better and better, and also in recent year, the level of autonomy or intelligent control is increasing also pretty fast. Yeah.
So yeah, over the years, a number of upgrades has been made to the rocket, right, to improve its reliability and safety of a launch. And in fact, this rocket has never failed a crewed mission before. The escape tower has never been used, and that's a really good tracking record, isn't it, Professor?
Exactly. You see, Qiu Yan, you know that the Long March 2F is what we call a 2.5-stage rocket. So it is a mid-sized rocket with the core stage have a diameter of 3.35 meters, which was widely used by the Long March 2, Long March 3, and the Long March 4 series in China. And you know that's the it also has 4 boosters, each with a diameter of 2.25 meters. So this is
you can see the crew has arrived at the launch pad, waving to cameras. They will be going into that elevator that's going to take them to the 9th floor at the launch tower. The launch tower hasn't fully opened, so you cannot see the rockets just yet. But later, as we get close to the launch, the retractable platforms will open up, revealing the rocket.
So together with them, you will see the ground team from 2 systems mainly. One from the what we already discussed, the astronaut system, who are in charge of carrying the health conditions of the astronauts, maintenance of the IVA spacesuits, and also we have the team from the spaceship system. So they will help the astronauts to configure the status of the spacecraft and also check if everything is okay.
Yeah, and the launch tower is made of steel to withstand extreme forces during a rocket launch, so it's said to be extremely stable. The astronauts are in an explosion-proof elevator as well. And you can see the white tube, right? That's an escape tube, isn't it? Emergency escape tube.
Yes, exactly. Not only the astronauts, but also, that the ground staff, if anything wrong happens, that at this moment, it's already begin, I believe that maybe complete the fueling procedure. It's full of propellant, so very, very dangerous. And also, that's the, what you mentioned, the escape tower is actually is a solid rocket motor. So also full of explosives. So if anything wrong happened, the ground staff and the astronaut can escape from the from this tube and go very, very fast descent to a closer place, which keeps them safe.
Yeah, we're about 2.5 hours from liftoff. We can see some ground staffs are still working at the tower. What are some of the major tasks that are being conducted now at the launch tower?
Yeah, part of the team from the rocket system. So that they still have a lot of work to ensure not only the safety and also the normal condition of the rocket itself, but also that some of the ground staff belongs to the launch site system. That the launch complex we are talking about is also very, very complex. The launch tower have many, many critical actions during the whole launch procedure. For instance, as you already mentioned, the rotational platforms must be opened one by one. And that the motors must be in good condition. And also, you may notice that there are many arms close to the rocket. So there are also many pipes. Oh, the astronauts already reached the first near the
entrance of the spacecraft. Yep, that's a shot at the entrance. This is the waiting area. So the 3 astronauts will be sitting here for a few minutes, patiently waiting for their final checkups. They're taking their seats there, and there will be supporting staff helping them, taking off protective boots and giving gloves to them.
What you see on the right of the screen is a payload fairing, very, very huge. The diameter is about 3.8 meters. And also inside this payload fairing, you can see that there is a panel just to connect the payload fairing and also the inner side of the orbital module. The orbital module is on the top of the Shenzhou spaceship. So the astronauts will enter. This is a video camera monitoring the inside of the Shenzhou spaceship. You can see on the top right is the camera mounted in the orbital module. And on the bottom right is the camera monitoring the re-entry capsule. You can see the 3 seats. And also, that they must enter the Shenzhou spaceship from the orbital module and then go down to their seats.
Normally, what kind of final checkups do they go through at this stage?
As I mentioned, there are teams from 2 systems. One is from the astronaut system. As you already said, that that's the astronaut system are in charge of the IVA spacesuit. So they will help the astronaut to ensure that the status of the IVA spacesuit is okay. And also, as you mentioned, they will take off their boots. And also, when go inside the Shenzhou spaceship, the team from the Shenzhou spacecraft system will help the astronauts. That at this moment, maybe there are still the ground staff from the Shenzhou spaceship system. And that just several hours before the flight, as Mr. Sui has mentioned, their biological samples, the fish and all the other things, only at this moment they can be brought into the cabin. Because that these are living things. They need a very critical condition, a very critical requirement for them.
Any breakthroughs in terms of upgrading the spacecraft that you could share with us?
I think based on the nature of aerospace and say those astral, it's very rare to see, say, on the infrastructure level, a huge difference comparing to the last version. But scientifically, as Professor Yang mentioned, this mission will have over 90 scientific experiments, which is significantly more, and I would say will be more complicated, complex.
You can see the ground staff. They're helping the astronauts taking off their protective boots. They do not need to wear those boots when they're in the spacecraft, huh?
Yes. So I believe these ground staff belongs to the astronaut system. Most come from the China's astronaut center in Beijing Space City.
In what orders will they be going in?
Oh, you may notice on the right there are some ground staff wearing white uniform. They belong to the spaceship system. They are also checking the status of the spaceship and also do a lot of preparations. Probably that's also some cargoes.
So we're hearing worse. They will be entering the spacecraft in about 5 minutes.
Usually just before the flight, maybe also at this moment, the host system also repeating some rehearsal or some simulation of the flight procedure. So maybe not only one time, maybe several times to ensure that the whole procedure goes very smoothly.
And you mentioned the spacecraft has the orbital module, the re-entry capsule. It actually has 3 modules, right?
Exactly.
Why is it being designed that way?
You know that this is some historical reasons. You know that during the early era of China airspace, we don't have much experience on re-entry spacecraft with a very huge diameter. So we must design a spacecraft, the Shenzhou spaceship, with a relatively small diameter, about 2.5 meters. So that is the diameter we chosen. Okay, what we heard is a simulation of the flight. And you know that because the T-minus 30 degrees, 30 seconds during the simulation.
They are going through everything
except
for the final step.
And you know that because at that era, 2.5 meters is already, for Earth, is already very big. But for the astronauts, it's really, really narrow for 3 people. So we don't have choice but to make another module to provide additional space for the astronauts in outer space. So that is the reason.
Yeah. That's the mock countdown.
Yeah, a simulation, not the real one.
Yeah, it's a test.
Yeah.
Looks like everything is going good.
And the voice we heard is report the real liftoff moment. Because you know that China choose a different system comparing with other countries. The time 0 in other countries with the moment of liftoff. But in China, 0 means ignition. So it's different. So that is the reason. Every time after the liftoff, so you may hear this voice to report the real liftoff time.
And I guess that'll be a very exciting moment for the 2 new astronauts that'll be soon board the spacecraft for their mission. What kind of trainings do these astronauts go through, Professor Sui? Do we know?
They actually need to go through a lot of training procedures, ranging from the study of basic math, mechanics, science, and also physical trainings. And because you see, in the space for 6 months or so, they basically need to do everything by themselves. Yeah, they need to know the equipments very well. They need to know how to do the scientific experiments. They need to be able to deal with any type of emergencies. All of these need to be trained before the launch of this mission.
And talk to us more about their lives in space, right? Do they have a daily routine in space? I mean, what factors are taken into consideration
I think
creating such routine?
Yeah, it's going to be different from our daily living on Earth, but they still need to keep their clock, their biological clock, right? So as Professor Yang mentioned, they've already had their dinner. They're not going to have dinner right now or at say 7 p.m. or something. Yeah. Before the launch, they're trying to fit their new biological clock. Yeah, just like that. If we are flying to Europe, we are going to have a time difference. They're going to fit their time difference and their new clock in space right before the launch of the mission.
Yeah, they probably have to stay up all night today.
Not exactly. You see that they will only stay in the Shenzhou spacecraft for 6.5 hours before the docking. So we've already choose the faster rendezvous and docking. The astronauts today is already very, very convenient than before. You know that during the first crewed rendezvous and docking mission in the Shenzhou-9 mission and the Shenzhou-10 mission, the astronauts need to stay in the Shenzhou spacecraft for about 2 days. So that's a little bit tough because that the inner volume is really, really small, very, very narrow space. So not so comfortable when they compare with their time in the space station. And it is very interesting, that in other countries, especially since the start of the manned space era, that they have formed the tradition. The male astronauts will during their trip from their hotel to the launch pad, they will stop in a certain point and pee to the view of the ground vehicle. So they've already formed this tradition since Gagarin, the first flight.
And what kind of impact will it have on the astronauts living in space for 6 months?
Actually speaking, they will face this very crucial condition, and we must be well considered and well trained for this. The first one is the loss of bones, because you don't have any stimulation from the gravity, so your bones will be weaker and weaker, and not only your bones, but also your cardiovascular system and muscles and your neural system. So we must be well trained for that. So the physical exercise is extremely important for the astronaut to keep them healthy and to ensure their safety, especially during the return. Because that not only during the liftoff, but also during the return, they will experience the G-forces normally about 3 to 4 times greater than your own mass, and also the intensive vibration will also they must adapt that and be well trained about that.
And they can work out there up in space,
Absolutely.
right? They have treadmills up there.
But that's yes, and also that the challenge is the training is not only solving the problem you met during the normal process, and also it's more tough the training of the abnormal cases. For instance, what I mentioned, the G-forces in emergency escape will reach to about 8 to 10 times your own mass. So you can see how tough it is. And for the, that's all the 3 crew members are chosen as categorized as the pilots. For the pilots, not only you must be normal during this 8 to 10 G, but also they must have the capability to do any operations at these circumstances. So that's a real, very tough, challenging training for them. Moreover, you see, they can survive at least for 2 days in a very, very unfriendly environment. For instance, they were trained in the Badan-Jilin desert for 2 days. Every member, no exception, can survive. They only have very limited supplies. So this training are also very necessary.
And what else has been done on the front of health management for the crew?
Yeah, they actually need to go through, as we mentioned, their quarantine is actually trying to keep them healthy before the launch. And before that, they actually have good diet, good healthy training, and sports training, and a lot of different, medication observations, monitoring, making sure that they are healthy. Yeah, because when they are in the space, they can only have telemedicine with our medical doctors on Earth, right? So a lot of treatments will not be available in the space.
So they do have medical support when they're up there?
Yes, not only during their flight in the orbit, but also before and after the flight. So the medical team is a very big team, not only monitoring their biological parameters, but also doing a lot of things such as, for instance, design such as you mentioned, the diet and also their daily schedule. Usually, just when the time is close to their return, they will increase their exercise every day. Because that after half the year in orbit, even if you already have so much exercise, and even if you will have a very good nutrition, but still you need to enhance your bones, your strength, your muscles during the return procedure. Because you must face not only the normal return, also the G-forces will be 3 to 4 G. But in abnormal cases, it will be very, very tough for them. And my friends, Miss Ye Guangfu from Korea, also experienced
there you have
this.
it. I think this is one of the astronauts. I think this is Li Guangsu standing up. Li Guangsu.
Li Guangsu, 03.
03.
03. The code
That's
is
his
03.
code
He
number.
will enter first because the commander needs to sit in the middle, so he must be the last one.
So So Li Guangsu is sliding in to this is the orbital module, and then he will descend to the re-entry module.
You know that every time they have some personal private belongings. Mr. Li Guangsu mentioned that he will borrow some toys of his kid.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, you can see that the ground staff from the probably the Shenzhou spaceship system in the orbital module help the astronauts.
It's not easy to get in, huh?
Yes, exactly. Very, you can see very narrow space. Now this is a camera in the re-entry capsule. In the middle is the seat of the commander. So he will go first, reach this, we usually call this basin. Each basin is designed according to their personal body shape. Yes, exactly.
It's not that easy to walk in that space
So
suit.
Mr. Li Guangsu will sit in the basin close to the camera on the left. Yeah.
After him, next up is Mr. Li Cong.
Yes.
Well, Ye Guangfu waits for his turn.
You know that Mr. Li Cong has.
北京景山报告。我是北京景山请讲。景山天路长江7号3小时准备完毕。景山报告完毕。北京明白。
T-minus 3 hours.
They've done all the necessary checkups.
You know, Mr. Li Cong is what we call the 02. 02 has a very important task.
What is it?
Yeah. During the landing, he is in charge of the button to cut off the parachute.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a very important task.
Very important. You know, during the history, we only have a perfect landing vertically during the Shenzhou-6 mission and the Shenzhou-13 mission. Only in these two missions, the Shenzhou re-entry capsule stand there vertically.
So the other ones, they landed on the side?
Yeah, they lie down. You know that a vertical landing will be more comfort. But you know, this raises a very high requirement to the parachute cutter.
There's a yellow bag there with some manuals and necessary checkup stuffs in there.
Yeah, and Mr. Li Cong is the youngest guy in this crew, only 35 years old. Okay,
now
commander.
the flight commander, Ye Guangfu.
This is second mission, and Mr. Ye Guangfu will break the record of the duration of stay in outer space for our Chinese technonauts.
A very short gap between the two missions, huh?
Yes, not only the gap, you know that
9 days.
he's already in outer space for half a year. So this is another half a year. So after this mission, he will stay the first astronaut in China that stay in the orbit for 1 year.
Look at that, a record breaker.
A record breaker, yes.
Now, what's different for him is that he will be staying in the orbital module for a bit, completing the final status checks, as he is the flight commander.
Yeah.
After all the final checkups, he will descend into the re-entry module.
Yeah. So this is we see that these cameras.
我是北京华山，请讲。华山3小时准备完毕。
We're a little over 2 hours till
T-minus
the
3
liftoff.
hours preparation has already been done.
Yep. I mean, they will be staying in the spacecraft for more than 2 hours before the blast off.
Yes.
What kind of procedures will they go through at this stage?
Well, you know that there are a lot of work to do. So first, when all the 3 crew members has already entered the re-entry capsule, they must, with the help of the ground staff, they must close the hatch between the orbital module and the re-entry capsule. And then the hatch on the side of the orbital module will also be closed. And then another hatch on the payload fairing. So there are 3 hatches they need to close. And also, during this procedure, we must check if it is already formed what we call the airtight sealings. So keep the pressure of the inner volumes atmosphere is extremely critical to ensure the safety and life of our astronauts. And also, not only the airtight sealing of the cabin will be examined, but also their IVA spacesuit. After they close their helmet face mask, they will also check this.
So on your right, we are seeing a great look of what's inside the re-entry module. That is where the 3 astronauts will be staying. Talk to us more about what are we seeing inside that capsule. What is that big yellow bag hanging on the wall?
You know, there are some cargoes together with the astronauts. Not only we need these cargoes for maybe, that's because, what you asked is in the re-entry capsule. So in the re-entry capsule, we also have some supplies for emergency escape, either during the liftoff or during the return. Because you know that in the emergency case, they may splash down in the ocean or land in the desert. So they must have the supplies to, for instance, the food and water. And that even they have the pistol, a gun, to protect them from the beast, wild beast they may meet.
Do they have a lifeboat in there?
Yes, actually, very, very professional. You know that the China cooperates with ESA in many years before, conducted a rescue training in the near the Shandong province, in the actually in the Yellow Sea or the near the Bohai. So this kind of training, they have a lifeboat, which can be inflamed very soon to save the lives of our astronauts in the ocean.
You can see all the 3 astronauts are seated by now. They're putting on their seat belts, their protection belts.
The yellow bags you see has also another very important function to adjust the position of the center of the mass of our re-entry capsule. Because you know that during the re-entry, the position of the centroid or the center of the mass is also very important to adjust a right trajectory of our re-entry procedure.
And right in front of their seats is a control panel.
Yes.
The buttons on that control panel are generally bigger than the usual ones.
Because they usually wear their gloves,
Gloves.
So they must have big buttons.
Yeah, and they're further apart as well.
Yeah. And Mr. Ye Guangfu, the commander, sits in the middle. So in an emergency case, he is in charge of the judgment of the right choice.
They're putting all the stuff into that yellow bag, and that'll be removed from the re-entry module.
You may also notice that at this moment, all their helmets are open. Their face masks are open. But they will check if it can form an airtight sealing. If anything wrong happened to the IVA spacesuit, there will also be a termination of the mission. Because you know that this is a second protection. Also, this is a backup measure to ensure their safety, but still very, very important.
But this type of emergency stop never happened, right?
Yeah, never happened for us with China before. But they do have a tragedy in the Soyuz-11 missions. You know, that during the Soyuz-11 missions in 1971, the 3 cosmonauts lost their lives because they don't have IVA spacesuits.
I would imagine they have to go through a number of emergency trainings, right? Tons of emergency trainings. Whereas there is an emergency in space, you don't really have much time to think. They have to make immediate actions. I mean, what types of major emergencies are out there at the space station?
Quite right. Not only what you mentioned, but also you know that in this emergency situation, how to breathe, they also must be trained for this. And also, you know that it's relatively safe when they already in the orbit. But still, you know that I can still remember that during the Shenzhou-18 mission, there is a fake signal of the sensors so Mr. Jing Haipeng called that there is a fire in the orbital module. So you can see how dangerous it is.
Yeah, fire, depressurization, leak of ammonia. Those are some of the risks.
Yeah. So what you mentioned, the leakage of the pipe is also a very important task for this Shenzhou-18 mission, because they will provide some protections during the EVA for the pipes and also the cables outside our Tiangong space station. Because we cannot afford that if any space debris hits these very critical parts.
What are they doing now? Looks like they're connecting some kind of pipes, tubes.
Yes, you know that there are all kinds of safety belt for them. They must fasten all the safety belts for them, because not only they will experience the G forces, but also have the intensive vibration during the ascent stage. And also they must check if everything goes okay. Not only what we already discussed about the IVA spacesuit, but also everything inside their cabin. You can see there are all kinds of instruments around them. We just heard the voice that the ground team is checking the theoretical trajectory of the rocket. So it is normal. All the procedures for the T-3 hours preparation has already been accomplished.
Yeah. Actually, in about 3 to 4 minutes, it's going to be T-2 hours. We're getting closer to the blast off.
So the launch procedure is not only the business of the spacecraft or the astronauts, but a big system. The whole system includes not only the launch site, the Shenzhou spacecraft, the rocket, but also the telemetry control and also other communication stations in China, and also some of the space tracking ships in the Pacific Ocean.
Do they have entertainment activities other than work? Do they have off days when they're in space?
Well, you see that I can still remember that Mr. Ye Guangfu, you know that he's the former crew member of the Shenzhou-18 mission. I can still remember that during the just several hours before the Shenzhou-18 mission, Yaping, who is also the crew member of the Shenzhou-18 mission, just posted in the WeChat moment. It is a good entertainment for her.
Oh, yeah.
But this also shows that she's full of confidence. Even at this moment, she can post the WeChat moment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that long stick Ye Guangfu is using.
So that's because that will be fastened the seat belt in the basin, and if they want to push the buttons, they need use this one.
What kind of food will they have up there? Do they get to choose their own meal plans?
They also have food inside this re-entry capsule, but they don't have the heaters to eat the hot food at this stage, because that's the what we call a kitchen is in the orbital module. So only when they already come into the orbit and open the hatch between the orbital module and the re-entry capsule, at this moment they can have some hot food.
And I suppose they cannot take showers when they're up there, huh?
Not only during this flight in the Shenzhou spaceship, but also no chance in the space station. They will wipe their skin.
Sponge bath.
Yeah, exactly.
Professor Ni earlier mentioned that how will they be, having haircuts?
Right.
They will help each other. Each was trained for this.
So they do a lot of training. Yeah, you can see all kinds of training for their daily life, for very professional missions, right?
To just daily life tasks.
Yeah, daily life tasks could be very different in space in those microgravity conditions, right? And if you are not well trained, some very regular behaviors on Earth with regular gravity might be very dangerous in space, actually. Yeah.
Professor Ni, you actually work in the field of AI and brain-computer interface. You mentioned some of the experiments that they are bringing to space include experiments on brain-computer interface.
Right, because they're going to do all kinds of studies, frontier research in the space station. Part of them is actually doing the understanding of human condition and especially the brain condition. Yeah, the technology technology of brain-machine interface that a lot of our colleagues at Jiuquan University, at Tianjin University, Shanghai Jiaotong University are doing work on investigating how human brain is actually functioning in space, and can we actually use those to help and monitor the health condition. Yeah.
Okay, we just heard from the ground commander, T-2 hours and counting.
So what kind of experiment outcomes are you most looking forward to?
I'm actually looking forward to the new animal experiments like the zebrafish experiment I've just explained, and also some stem cell experiments of plants, because that will lead to new understanding of how are we gonna grow new possible plants on Earth, and also there will be a lot of material science and mechanics and also space health experiments I think in this batch of research. Yeah, we'll see a lot of them. But my personal favorite would be seeing the human-related research on understanding, protecting the astronauts.
Right. Yeah. And we're hearing words our reporter Sun Ye is following the Shenzhou-18 launch on the ground at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. She is joining us live now. Sun Ye, what do you have for us now?
Hey there, Jiuquan. I'm saying hello to you again at perhaps the best viewing point for the spectacle. This evening, we are again 1.5 kilometers away from the launch pad. We are 1.5 kilometers away from the rocket. And this is really the closest layman can get. But still, as you see, the rocket is still wrapped in those rotation platforms. It's still protected. As the launch gets even nearer, those rotation platforms will unwrap one by one. Now, as you already know, the taikonauts, they are getting into the Shenzhou spaceship I think right now. And even if we cannot see the spaceship, we have someone who can tell us all about the Shenzhou spaceship, even with her eyes closed. Now we have Miss Luo Guqing. She's with China Academy of Space Technology, and it's a really rare privilege to have her here while on mission. 谢谢您，罗老师来参加我们这个直播哈。我们现在其实看不到这个神舟飞船，但是应该说航天员已经进去了。他们在飞船里面现在感觉会是什么样？
How are they feeling right now?
现在正在是应该是
right
现在这个时间，3位航天员已经进去了。
The three taikonauts already inside
神舟飞船的负责人已经进去了。那么3个航天员里面，在里面这种空间环境以及那个生理环境吧。
They have well prepared, and also during the design phase, we also had a thorough consideration about the living condition and also the whole temperature inside around 26 degrees, and also the humidity is also quite nice. So it's similar as we stay inside the room. So we believe the taikonauts actually feel nothing different from the ground. Yes, indeed, as you mentioned, it's very comfortable inside. So can we compare to other means of that the vehicles or transportation means? So think about like airplane. And we believe that, of course, you compare to economic. The seats that we talk about, that's the very comfortable for even more comfortable for taikonauts.
每一次来这儿看神舟飞船它要发射，我们知道神舟飞船它是非常安全、非常可靠的一款飞船，但是它为这一次任务有改变吗
？Anything changed this time for this mission specifically? So for Shenzhou, a manned spaceship. For us, it's a means of transportation. So for us, actually, the whole type or theory of the Shenzhou actually that's already that fix used for more than 3 decades. For us, the main purpose for this aircraft, the airship, is for sending the taikonauts to the space. Of course, we have made improvements along with the advancement of the technologies. And we talk about each and every improvement that has gone through rounds of tests on ground and also in space. So this time, talking about the improvements, I believe two things I would like to share with you. One thing is the solar panel cells. And this time we changed to the lithium cells. So they can charge even faster and lighter weight and also smaller in size. So for the same continent, actually show more benefits, and also actually it can get adapted to different kinds of environment. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time to talk about how that we feel when that taconauts sitting inside, and also the improvements made this time for the mission. And we will very soon see that the taconauts will be in the States and wait for their feelings to share with us. Thank you very much.
Now, Ms. Luo, just share with us what does it feels like to be riding in that spaceship. Now, earlier we've also talked to a rocket expert, and he said that riding the Long March 2F manned carrier rocket, it's something like driving or staying in a Mercedes-Benz. It's comfortable, it's smooth. You only get that extra G when you've gone for a while. Now, I have one more piece of good news for tonight. Now, it's windy and it's still bright sunlight right now, but tonight it's a full moon night. And we've just checked. The moonrise is somewhere around 2030. So I think it's fair reason that we can tone up our expectation for tonight a little bit more.
Wow, it's nice that we can get a view of the full moon as the backdrop of this rocket launch. That'll be really incredible. Thank you very much, seeing it live for us at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. We're now watching our special coverage of the launch of China's Shenzhou-18 crewed mission. The 3 taconauts have entered the cabin, and the spaceship will blast off from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in less than 2 hours. So stay tuned to that. And before that, I'll hand things over to my colleague Xiaocheng for some major news making headlines across the world. Xiaocheng.
Thank you, Joe.